Ooh, yeah, here we are in the vape haze.
Vape heads.
Yeah, a couple vape heads.
Couple vape heads.
Myself mainly. You're a vape head once every now and then. I love to be like, get ready to do a podcast. And by get ready, meaning like we just turn on the iPhone and set this up. And then taking a huge hit of something that completely wipes out anything I might have had as a plan.
Yeah, well, that's great.
No, but I think it's good.
Leave me hanging.
No, I think it's good. Well, it's like you were in on whatever my plan might have been. It doesn't matter. You know, I think that's kind of the beauty of what we do.
Yeah, that's why I don't vape, because when I get lost, you'll see me like out in the ethers. I'll be like, you'll be like, Cass, where are you?
Yeah, you'll get really lost.
Yeah, I feel like for you, it makes you more present, and for me, I end up in a different universe.
Yeah, different things do have different effects on people at different times, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works. And there's definitely been times where I'm like, maybe shouldn't have gotten completely ripped before I do it, but it gives me really good plausible deniability in any kind of given situation. That's my little secret.
Plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like all these years we lived in Brooklyn, we'd like go out, but we had such a hard time making friends because we were just like the stoned people in the corner.
Yeah. Well,
and at some point we were like, maybe we shouldn't like burn a whole joint down before we walk into some space.
Yeah, yeah. But those spaces were not. We were the only people stoned in there. So I think that's part of when you first move on from drinking, you don't really know any better, but to keep going back to the places you had all those good times. But like the difference is you're not drinking.
Yeah.
So you just like, I think that was like a hallmark of the beginning of our relationship, and when we first moved in together in Greenpoint, we'd be like, oh hell yeah, we'll be at Lulu's tonight. Everybody hang out. And like we're not drinking anymore, but we're still in this like loud, crazy atmosphere. And like instead we're smoking pot and looking around like, what the fuck are we doing here? I used to love this place. Like I hate it now. So I kind of.
Well, when you're a stoner, you love a free pizza with a beer, you know?
Yeah.
You get the pizza, you don't drink the beer.
Yeah. That was a really good way to pull, poor Brooklynites into your establishment back in that, like the early 2000s era.
Yeah.
Yeah. Free pizza with every beer. It seems like it could hardly be a profitable business. But it worked on getting my ass in those places.
They need to do more free food.
Out in the world?
Out in the world, more free peanuts and popcorns. And there's bars that had like cheese puffs, the Levy.
Yeah.
The Levy was cheese puffs.
Yeah. It's all disgusting when I think about it now. Just some weird food that's just like sitting in a basket on a bar.
That everyone's sticking their hands into.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I'll get in on that. So gross. Remember, oh my God, at Trash Bar, they'd serve tater tots.
I love tater tots.
You'd be fucking blackout drunk at 3:30 in the morning. Like, you know what's a good idea right now? A gigantic thing of, processed potatoes that have been fried in the same oil that's been in this bar since it ever opened. That's a good idea. I'll wake up feeling great from that.
There's something about when you're drunk, though, that you crave greasy food. I don't know what that is, because I don't actually think it serves you, but there is a deep craving that happens.
Yeah, your body is seeking some sort of balance. It like needs nutrition to deal with the poison that you just
Or it needs to like be
into it.
soaked up, so carbs and grease and fat and salt, just...
Yeah.
It's like, what could be better?
What could be better?
But then you just feel like, you double down on your hangover.
Yeah.
Then you're just like in a coma. You go from just like being hungover, and I mean, I'm talking about something I shouldn't even talk about being hungover. I'm so far from being hungover that I'm not even sure I could accurately...
only ever dealt with hangovers in your 20-something body. You've never explored the world of like, oh fuck, I overdid it in my 30s, and like I feel like a freight train. I guess you did it once on our we were on a job 3 weeks down in the Caribbean, and the first night you overdid it.
Yeah, I was, and I had done such a good job prepping that job, but the first night I was like, all right, let's go out. We're taking out the clients. I'm gonna have a couple pina coladas. I could not. My brain didn't work.
The rest of the time.
Well, the thing is, my brain didn't work the next day, and there was a cascade of consequences. It wasn't that big of a deal, but when your job is to like AD the shoot among every other job.
Yeah, assistant direct, which means like coming up with the schedule and making sure we stick to it.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't make sense of anything. Like my brain just literally wasn't working. And then I kind of just felt like energetically I fell behind.
Yeah.
And it was hard to like catch up.
That was your equivalent of doing a huge hit before a podcast. It's like, oh, we're here on this job. Cool. I'll get drunk for the first time in years. It all worked out though. It always does. And it's funny when it doesn't. Like I'm too aware of that. It allows me to play in territory maybe I shouldn't be playing in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, when things don't work out?
No, just being able to fuck around and get away with it. Being able to be like extremely high for like some of the most important meetings of our life and sales pitches and like anything. Like while I'm directing something, you know, like it's interesting. I've definitely gotten good at it. Being able to fuck around and like not really find out that much.
Well, I feel like you think it's even better.
I do. Yeah. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, I'm at my best when I have this, that, and the other substance. Like,
except TNA.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily at my best. It's just like I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable to do something that probably is very uncomfortable for both of us, which is record ourselves talking with no plan. TNA helps me get to a place where I can even do that. I don't know if it necessarily makes me better. I feel like I'm the same no matter what. So why not have a good time? You feel me?
I mean, that's how you definitely don't hear issues from me, is because I barely can tell when you're stoned versus not stoned, or you know, even when you were drinking, I can tell a different. Like I really have never liked drinking or people who drink. Like that energy, that possessive energy. They feel like, who's possessing you now? But I've never really had that issue with you where I'm like, oh, you're a stranger now.
Yeah. Most of my issues are when I'm like not fucked up in some way.
Yeah, then I'm just like, you
too much of a raw dog.
Yeah, you're too much of a raw dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had our bicycle day event. I guess it was last Saturday.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Huge success for us. We didn't know what we were doing or why we were doing it, but it feels like some clarity has come from putting ourselves out there like that. Packed it out.
I was so nervous.
Yeah,
I was, for some reason, like right away the next day they were like, so we've sold 9 tickets. And I was like, oh. But
they're like, okay, cool, partnership agreement, awesome, let's announce the event. We announced the event, and then like right away they're like, you only sold 9 tickets so far. We're like, what? This event's like 3.5 weeks from now. We haven't even told anybody. Like, what do you mean? Like,
I know, but it still made us nervous. We were just like,
of course. It just like, it's the perfect number to scare you in ticket sales. It's just like, you're not in the double digits. Like, what? What are you talking about? And like, even though we had done nothing to inform anyone about it, it bothered us, you know? So we were like, we're going to either have to get out of this or go hard in the paint. You know, and it's weird to think about us going hard in the paint for this with everything else we have going on.
I know.
That we're like, we need to make sure that this party's packed.
Well, we don't want to embarrass ourselves. Or like, you like when you get invited to do something, you want to make it so that the people who invited you to do something don't regret it.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Like, please just don't make it. Like, you know, you want to always be asked back. Whether or not you want to do it again, you want to be asked back.
It was the perfect fire under our ass. Maybe that's why they did it. Maybe they do that to everyone that they sign a partnership agreement with. Yeah. Like, hey, you've only sold 9 tickets. I'm like, you're telling me the motherfucker that did a fucking symposium about consent sold more tickets than, like, get the fuck out of here. You're fucking with us. And, like, we did. We sold a good amount of tickets. We packed the fucking place out. Like, no more people could have fit in there. Yeah. And we're talking about an event that officially started at 2 p.m. and ended up ending at 10. 8 hours of, like, holding it down. Well, basically, the reason I even bring it up is because, like, we show up that, like I knew that day was going to be a long day for my introverted soul. I knew it. So I was like, this is an acid day. It's like not even a question. It's bicycle day. I'm going to take a bunch of acid, even though I'm going to have to do public speaking tonight. Like, whatever. Right?
No, like it behooves you.
I think.
Yes.
And I, like here's how twisted our world is. I don't even think of that as a thing until we get there, and like we run into Michelangelo, shout out, the homie, who is co-hosting with us and moderating our thing. And like we get there, and like it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. No one's even there yet, and I'm like, oh, you want some acid or like any micros, like whatever you need, bump a K, fucking some weed or whatever. And he's just like looks at me like I'm crazy.
He's like, I'm gonna keep my wits about me.
He's like, I'm gonna keep it together as we're doing like a thing tonight. Remember? And I'm just like he's looking at me like I understand his world, and I'm looking at him like he understands mine. And it was just like kind of this like funny like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's really fucking smart. Like you're a normal person. Like you're a good person or whatever it is.
Or he's high on the natch.
Totally. Meanwhile, I'm like, well, I'm gonna party. And I did. I partied so hard. I like went to the edge and beyond like 5 times before I had to speak. So thank God when it was time to speak, something that felt reflective of who we were came out. You stopped listening.
No, I didn't. I just decided whether like you always say, don't hop to the end of a story, like build it up. And I was just listening. I was watching myself and my brain hop to an end of a story. And I was like, oh, I'll pull it back a second.
Yeah.
I definitely took some acid too. I mean, I just want to have a great time, and I kind of know my dosage and stuff like that. So I'm just like, the whole point of the Church of Chill Psychedelic Assembly takeover was to create a safe container. That's what we do. That's what the Church of Chill is. It's like a safe container
to do whatever you want
of good vibes. And I'm like, of course I'm gonna partake and have a great time. Like that was like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
What I didn't think is that I would take someone else's acid midway through the day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a funny thing. I don't normally do that.
You played it way more loose than I did. When I think about it, like you played it way more loose. This dude rolled up and like handed us a package of like
it looked fancy,
high-end, fancy like microdoses, and like, oh, you want a little mushroom and Molly together, and it's like, oh, then it's this, and a microdot, but it's perfect dose, and it's the size of a Tic Tac, and like, you just opened this stuff up and started eating stuff, and I'm like, yo. Okay.
Well, right, I was like, it looks really legitimately packaged. It's like, it's only 10 mics. And I mean, I took it at 4 p.m., which is usually not my vibe, and I was already kind of flying, but I loved it. I was like, this is great. I mean,
it brought out the best in you, thank fucking God. We were rolling the dice a few times throughout the day, but it brought out the best in you.
Yeah, I had a blast. I danced the whole night. You held an impeccable vibe. You did a lot of work putting together an audio-visual experience of music videos and then songs that didn't have videos. You created videos and then you leveled everything out, and it was like, it's kind of this like lo-fi, hi-fi quality music, lo-fi video thing that we projected, and it was just a great vibe. And I love that you shared it on the on our Patreon, so I can revisit that now.
Anyone can. Anyone now has access to this like 6-hour mega mix.
Yeah, it was.
That is perfect. Like an audio visual thing. Like I highly suggest like taking whatever you're gonna take and throwing this on and just like take the ride.
Well, I love that some people watch us like on a projector, and it just feels like we're not appropriate for a projector, but this thing is more appropriate for a projector.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess if we're on a projector, we're like hanging out in a big life-sized way.
Yeah, we're the bulb in the projector. We don't even need to have our images projected from it. Just be the light. Fuck it.
Well, what's really cool about psychedelic assemblies, it really tracks a lot of heads, a lot of people who are either deep in this world or new to it, and it's kind of it itself is a really good container for people who are exploring that space. I mean, it's a library, and there's a million different books and decks and art and all this stuff for you to sink your teeth in. So it's just an incredible environment we just kind of were like the sugar on top, and we kind of just gave it a like tone, but the place feels so reminiscent of our apartment. I had like
eerily
reminiscent brick walls, wood beams in the ceiling,
same books, same art,
Yeah.
blotter art everywhere, you know, just fully
Very
leaning
colorful.
into, yeah, just leaning into psychedelia fully.
Yeah. And and what's so nice about it is that it's so conducive to meeting people, because you just go sit down and you pick up a book and you're like, oh, have you read this? Or, oh, look at this deck. Like, I start pulling cards for people. What was really fun too is that our friends Michael and Kellyanne came, and they brought well, Kellyanne made delicious food, and so we both made food, and there was pizza that was ordered, but she also brought scrapbooking stuff, and I brought like my friend Liz inspired this like 1-page zine kit, not kit, just like a 1-page. She gave instructions. Like, you can make a zine using 1 page and just like folding the paper and cutting a little bit of it, like cutting a cut in the middle of it. And so you kind of thought I was like crazy. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
With a zine? Like, this isn't a, but it really does. I think having something for people who are artistically leaning, to have a container for creative expression. I was blown away by where people took it.
Oh my God. Not only where they took it, but just the fact that they took to it. I was just like, okay, duly noted. Cass knows what's up. And not only that, if I wasn't hosting this thing, I'd probably be one of those people like that was like, thank God there's something like this to do and to channel this energy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was so busy. I think I talked to people, but really mainly listened the entire time.
I mainly cut scenes. I mainly folded scenes and just went around handing them out. Maybe it's with me knitting and everything. I'm just someone who if I keep my hands busy, I'm grounded.
Yeah, grandma style.
And grandma style.
That's what we were just talking about, that. How grandma style approach to life is really good for your brain health.
Yeah, exactly.
Knitting,
gardening, cooking, any of these.
Baking.
Creates like problem solving in a container, and it also just takes you out of the digital world.
Yeah.
Into a more grounded world.
Yeah.
So I love it. I have 3 projects going right now.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
No, it's really wonderful, and it's made you more present and less like that like zoinked look in your eyes.
Oh yeah, you were the other night. You were like, Cass, I don't want you to just like tap out. I'm like, I'm not gonna tap out. I have knitting. I'm happy everywhere now.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't stop me from being happy. You don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
I got like...
You're never going to be bored or unsettled or anything like that. Like that really, ever since you took up knitting, that's really gone. Because I think where most people will grab their phone.
And I would grab my phone.
Definitely.
Now I just need the thing that I do. I can't really knit like lying on my side in bed, and I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I look up stuff on my phone.
You look up how to knit.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah, so we just basically, it was cool to host something that felt like a contained version of what we used to kind of have as the open vibe at our apartment, where people could come and go whenever they want and do whatever they want, and we're here for you. To have a contained version of that.
And see all the old
nice.
homies like Daniel Fresco and Josh Craig and Maddie Shannon and Sarah. And our boy Ryan came out. Shout out, my favorite Long Islander.
Oh, yeah. He brought some homies.
Our girl Nika came.
Judy.
Oh, my God. Judy came.
Yeah.
It was so great. So it was like a mix of like old faces and new faces. And
yeah, the people you just mentioned made it so I could even do this. Like, yeah, I didn't realize till we got there. I was like, oh, I needed a couple familiar faces. Like Kellyanne and Michael, like, basically hosted this thing with us. They showed up when we showed up and, like, hung in there and
helped move furniture.
just did everything. Like, just, like, kept an eye on the vibe. And, like, I can't think of better people to be friends with at this stage of our life and what we're trying to build and not necessarily be, like, the owners of. Very weird territory to try to navigate as things become more ticketed and real and, like...
Well, what did so the portion of the ticket sales that we got, we put right into...
Oh, yeah, we just bought a giant JBL speaker, the JBL Boombox 3.
Shout out to Natalie for getting me a 30% discount, too.
Yeah. But literally all the money we made on the event, we put right into this one speaker that hooks up to our other speakers. And those were already cool. Those little, the JBL Pulse things, because you can hook them up. They can remotely connect to each other. So now we have 4 of these things, including the boombox.
Yeah, we're trying to make the Church of Chill, as long as we have the speakers, it's really still not a physical location,
Yes.
but it can be moved around.
Yeah,
everywhere.
totally. It's wherever you want to be. It's okay. You know, that it's not a place, and it's not like it doesn't have to be reliable in the 3D world if it's reliably like on tap inside of you. You know what it feels like. You know how to build it. You know how to come up with that. Like, and it really doesn't take any instruction from me. Everyone knows what a fucking chill, good vibe feels like. You know, Ryan put it best. I went up to him because I really care about his opinion because he goes to a lot of things. I was like, how's it going? And he's like, it's great, man. Perfect brightness, perfect volume. And I was like, bro, that's like
It's so simple.
my flow chart of just how is a thing, any environment. That's what it's literally, it's the 2 things that get me right away. Like, what the hell is going on with the lighting in here? And then like, Jesus Christ, they're playing the loudest like fucking supermarket bullshit music.
That's
like,
why we carry like violet colored sunglasses and these eargasm pods that we wear.
I know. Well, now we just bring around this gigantic set of speakers.
So we
that
blast
anywhere
everyone
we
else
go,
out.
yeah, we could just take over.
No, but we have other friends, even my mom's like older friends who are just like, dude, if you're someone, we were talking to a friend who gets like very overstimulated. We're like, look, we wear these in restaurants. We wear these when we go to the movies and we feel like the mix is too loud. We wear these.
Oh, the eargasm?
Yeah.
They're great. For consumer level, if you're ready to take it up a notch, there's other ways, but like the eargasm are like, what are they, $25-$30?
Yeah, something like that.
And they just cut out the stuff that would just grind your gears, and maybe you don't know it. Maybe you're not picking up on why your energy bar is going down.
Yeah.
It's because there's like so much noise and nonsense conversations that like you don't need to be hearing or taking in or trying to fucking interpret.
There's like a frequency.
Yeah, it just cuts out that frequency. Like, even like I like wearing it between sets at a show because it's like the drunken chatter breaks out and I can't help but listen, but like this kind of like cuts it out. And just like the louder frequencies come through, so just like the music will come through or the house music or something, it really helps.
It's our bootleg version of what we were talking about on the last podcast as far as
augmented reality.
We're augmenting our own reality by muffling the sound.
I mean, it's just the old analog way of augmenting your reality. There's another way to augment it where you just throw Wook ears on. You just like cup your ears from behind. And like I've had this at shows that I didn't think were loud enough.
Yeah,
we went and saw Dead and Company at Citi Field, and we were like, "What the fuck is going on? I can't hear this." And you just throw the Wook ears on. We called it.
We need a little thing. We need to like patent.
Yes, an analog thing that just comes behind and it just
pushes
cups your ears and
like
just pushes them up a little bit and adds a little bit to them. Nothing crazy, but it just allows you to fucking take it
and look adorable doing it.
Yeah. Well, that could be part of our marketing strategy.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I don't know why we're talking about this, but basically we created an environment where you wouldn't need to do that, according to Ryan.
Because you smoke so much weed that we forgot anything we would talk about.
No.
I'm joking.
No, not at all.
I'm joking.
I'm right in the pocket right now, I think.
I'm joking.
I think I'm in the pocket. I don't know. But when he was like, yo, the brightness and the volume are on, I was like, great, I don't have to worry about anybody. But like, at one point I looked around, like the music was just really just in such a sweet part of the mix where I was like, this is such a crowd pleaser. I was just talking to a 70-year-old guy and I know he would love this. And I know our youngest early 20-something friends in here are vibing to it right now. And I'm like, I can't believe I was able to put together something that's such a crowd pleaser. And I look over and there's 4 people that are like in their mid-80s. And I was just like, whoa. Like, it just kind of like, I was like, damn. Got a little bit of everything here today. And I just can't imagine what they thought about that scene. I just can't imagine. It was just an all-day party with seemingly no one in charge. It was just like a party going on for hours before we were like, all right, we're going to screen a couple of our movies and do a little talk, but just for hours. So like, I don't know. It was great to know that they hung in there all day. You know, they paid with their attention. They sat there all day and watched us host a thing and took in the vibes just like everybody else, even though I know there was nothing tailored for them in my music. Like, I'm like, I don't have anything like that in this mix.
Well, wait till they hear limo rock.
Oh man, the new genre I created.
Yeah.
Yeah, limo rock.
Well, last night you were like, this is the vibe.
Yeah. Well, it's weird until we got this speaker. I didn't realize like how we don't get to listen to music loud. Like, we're in the car, we do, but it doesn't sound quite as good. It's like really letting it fly, like in this A-frame. So now with this speaker, I'm hearing things a little different, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know what the vibe is. I know what the vibe of winter solstice, right? It's called solstice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the vibe of the solstice party we had, and kind of the winter in general for me was sophistopop. Like think about like Sade, like maybe would be the defining thing of that genre. But like, you know, like Brian Ferry, there's so many, like I have like countless. I did like 4 or 5 like Church of Chill episodes around sophistopop, and I felt like, oh, this is the vibe. And the natural, like, it feels like this spring, summer, as things get warmer, is going to be defined by what I call limo rock. And that's like the natural successor to yacht rock. Like, yacht rock is it's like early to late 70s. You know all the bands, Steely Dan, the Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald, like all the classics, Jerry Rafferty. I love yacht rock, and but the natural successor is something that nobody has yet to find. It's limo rock. It's when we went from the yachts to the fucking limousines. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like some dude fucking cruising around a misty night in the back of a limo with like an undone tux, just looking out the window. Cityscapes. This is the vibe. Totally. And I started to hear it. And it's very much defined by the band The Stranglers, and really their work from like 1982 to 1986. And
stay tuned for
once you like, it's hard for me because it's like once I hear limo rock, I'm literally like, that's amazing. I hope it exists. I don't even know. So you were literally sitting in the laboratory yesterday. I made this entire room into a subwoofer and played music as loud as I can play it. And you sat there while I went through dozens upon dozens of songs trying to find this vibration. And I did. I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be our next episode of Church of Chill. Patreon.com/Church of Chill. You'll hear probably a few episodes of limo rock, but the next one is going to be a fucking banger because it was so inspired. It was so, like, just something that fully formed, like, arrived to me. And all I had to do was sift away the stuff that wasn't that. And a lot of good songs get sifted away in that. It's just like, this isn't the sonic palette. This isn't what it feels like. It's not thick enough. It's not dense enough. Or,
it's not misty enough.
Yeah. I can't see it.
You can't see. The lights aren't hazed. The city lights aren't hazed.
Glowouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I can't see it, I'm not going to be able to fully feel it. So once I saw it, it was actually while we were having sex. I was just like, oh man, after we're done here, I'm going to go downstairs and fucking just rip through dozens of songs, and hopefully Cass will be okay with it. You're great. You just literally, it's true what you're saying. Like, you sit there knitting and you don't give a flying fuck.
Well, I care if the
you care because it's good.
No, if it wasn't good, I would care.
Yeah.
If it wasn't good, I would just leave.
Yeah, totally.
I'd be like, okay, you enjoy this.
Call somebody.
No, I don't want you to think every time you changed a song. When I left the room the other day, and I almost said, like, Sean, it's not because this song's not good.
No, I knew the song was so good that I didn't need to keep listening to it.
I was hoping that was the case.
No.
Because I was like, I almost turned around and was like, Sean, that one was good, and then I was like, you know what, he knows what he's doing.
It's so good that I'm like, I'm not going. This is so. I sound so. I can't believe I'm still like this with you, but I'm very romantic, and I'm like, I don't want to blow the surprise of when I premiere this episode for you. I really don't. I don't want you to have heard the song like 6 times or in this case, even once all the way
Sometimes
through.
I like when I've heard the song 6 times.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, oh, this one, I love this
Oh,
one.
you're like, oh, you finally found a spot for this one.
Yeah.
This episode's a little different.
No.
This is going to be like everything's going to feel new to you. So, yeah, Limo Rock's about to hit the scene. Limo Rock happened in a place like after the yachts, but before private jets. Imagine that. Like, you know how private jets like really defined like the 90s culture and the rap culture and like, I don't know, look at old Korn videos and Limp Bizkit videos and everything like that really became like the standard. Like a limo though, there was a time in my lifetime where that was like the fucking gold standard of fucking having some drip about you. You're going around in a limo. Like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
Here's the sounds that would go along with it. And, like a little bit of like, you know, when you think of the Stranglers, there's a little bit of that like sleazy kind of psychedelic loungy vibe that bleeds in there. And I think it's cool.
The best part about music is you can like consume a lifestyle without having to consume a lifestyle. You know what I mean? You don't have to put the gas in the limo. You don't have to do the whole thing. You don't have to burn the fossil fuels. You don't have to.
I don't have to be anywhere near a yacht. I don't want to be.
Yeah, it's more like, all right, we can just colonize this energy without.
Yeah, exactly. So
we democratize it. You're democratizing the limo.
Yeah, well, I just think what I do is collect and curate vibes. And I think when I get a hold of something, I like to put a nice, tidy and fun container around it. That's all our movies are. That's all any of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just cinematic containers of like a vibration that like we're very well aware of. And, you know, just want to essentialize in the best way. That's all I'm doing with these playlists. Making these playlists once or twice a week, making these Church of Chill episodes has made me such a better filmmaker. Because I have to be constantly exploring and reaching beyond what the algorithms are kind of cocooning you with. Like you can get cocooned by technology and algorithms into really not breaking out into new territory. And I don't think that's good for your brain. I don't think it's good for your neuroplasticity to get so used to just carbs. Stuff you know about, stuff that's, you know, tried and true. There's a time and a place for that. Like that's our record collection. That's like all carbs for us. This is stuff we know. Like, but the forcing myself to go beyond what's easy to find in here is, I think it's made me a better filmmaker and a better curator.
Well, it's been really funny you sitting in front of the speaker being like, you're going to have to pull me away from this thing.
It feels like I'm addicted to a drug. I've never really felt this way towards a drug as I do about like, I'm longing. I'm already like, damn, we're only going to be up here for like another day or two in this house. I don't know when I'm going to be able to play music this loud again on this thing. I don't know when I'm going to really be able to pump this thing up again. Because it's fucking awesome when you do. When you position it in the right place.
I love that even Psychedelic Assembly, they're like, we have a good sound system. We're like, yeah, but...
They do, but I was like, it's just...
We just want to use our own.
It's just not going to be the same. And it's also just to prove to ourselves that we can do it. Like when we got the budget for Wild Magic, we didn't invest on just hitting the road. We took a good portion of the budget and bought equipment with it. So we were like, this is an investment in our life as filmmakers far beyond this one project that's going to come and go. And so that element applied to our event was just like, this is what we have to show for this event is this speaker. And because we have this speaker, we don't have to be beholden to any one space. We can do this anywhere.
Which I want to do it in like public spaces. Like
yeah, we talked about that on the last podcast, like just taking over parks.
I did when we came home from it, I was flying so high.
Yeah, oh my God, this was crazy. This was like, first of all, it's why we love this event so much too. It's like we blew it out. We couldn't fit any more people there. Just like fucking perfect. Like nailed it. Awesome. Michelangelo killed it. Like I couldn't pick a better person to do these things with. Incredible. And we left there at 10 p.m. We were home at 11 o'clock at night.
Which for us is like crazy.
If we still lived in the city, we would still be having this party a week out.
Well,
I don't
'cause
know if people can fucking fully fathom what our life was like down there. I mean, there was people following along on the podcast, but like the party, there was a pregame and the postgame, and it was like if we did an event, it would last a week in our life and in our apartment, you know? So it felt really nice and free to just pop it and drive, be home an hour later, like no one's around. But what you realize is you're like, there's still an inertia. Like something got set in motion that day. So we got home at 11. We just were like, what are we going to do? So we just started walking around the cemetery.
I mean, I was taking acid at 4 p.m., so.
Yeah, you're like, this can be a long night.
But it was so steamy. It was really just.
It was 75 degrees at night. It was
like
perfect fucking limo rock weather. Like, it was just perfect. So we walked around the cemetery and then we like tried to sleep, and I fell asleep somehow and you stayed up. Like, you received the sacred scrolls.
Well, I was all over the place. You know?
Yeah, so what happened? You were just laying there and
it's just like, you just write your ideas on your sticky notes.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the brilliant idea to be like, all right, I don't use ChatGPT for every little thing, but I was like, I just had a lot of thoughts go through my brain. I just put in ChatGPT. I was like, can you make sense of this? And it was like, absolutely. And then, we went through a couple iterations. Oh, here's a manifesto. Here's a breakdown. Here's a this. And then.
And ChatGPT is like kind of engaged with you on this. Like, you're like, hey, here's some stuff. And it's like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want a manifesto?
Yeah. Do you want a companion to the manifesto, but more focused on how the vision lives in the world and evolves over time? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Sure. It would have taken me 6 months to come around to that.
No, but it felt. I mean, I was going back and forth, and it was stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt poignant at the time, so I was like, I am gonna just be anxious if I don't get this out. But it was cool. I was like, I don't collaborate with ChatGPT that often, so I was like, let me try my hand.
I also think we don't have a day like that often, where it's like this was our first time trying this. It's like, this is a church of chill thing. So it was really data collection for us even having this thing. Coming out of it and see how we feel. And like, so I think you had access to like all the data points.
Well, I took a significant edible.
You were on that perfect combo.
But I wasn't even talking about Church of Chill, which was interesting. I didn't say anything about Church of Chill. I was just like kind of talking about values.
What our values are.
Yeah, just like things that I want to remind myself, like be kind, be loving, and then I'd be like paranoid about something, and then I'd be like, don't be paranoid. Like I was just.
You were writing that.
Yeah, I was like, why am I so scared of kids? And then I'm like, maybe the vibe, like I just, all these questions. But I had fed into ChatGPT at a previous time something about another night that I was up in the middle of the night. I was feeding it about, hey, I want to come up, I have this idea for this thing that happens in a park, like helping me formulate some ideas around it and language around it. Anyway, so I think it has where I was at that night and the night before, and kind of.
And it was just a free flow typing.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm at the same time I'm writing stuff like, it's not a fair fight. What is who has all the money versus no money? I just.
That helps. I feel like it helps because it's very emotional. It's very human, and it's literally like, it's so funny when I think of it. Like, it's a scroll. It's a sacred scroll. Like you wrote a scroll of thoughts.
Yes, and then and this isn't even incorporated into this, but I wrote stuff like, sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm a little too old to be still figuring out how to be a human. That's what got cracked as a kid at some point. Our parents don't know either. No one knows. Liberating, terrified, riding the line. I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Whoa.
Talking about like how to listen to myself versus you. And no, because I was saying 50% of the time I listen to myself and 50% of the time I listen to you. It could go 50% either way, as far as like, in retrospect, I should have listened to myself, or in retrospect, I should have listened to you. Which is interesting, because I really just wish I knew exactly what I should do in every moment, and I guess that's not the point of being here. But anyway, here's the Church of Chill vision document.
Yes, let's get down to it.
First draft. A living guide to building a life beyond false gods. Why we gather. We gather to remember, to unlearn systems that have divided us, to reimagine what it means to be human, in community, on Earth, right now. We are not here to build a brand. We are here to build a new way. Sounds pretty
Very
good.
on point. Very succinct way of saying something we've taken hours to render out on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
I'm like, okay, there it is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of funny because it took like a lot of disparate ideas. I mean, I gave you some of the craziest things I was writing down,
Yeah.
but okay, what we believe. Kindness is sacred. Capitalism is not our God. And then they have different things below it. It'll say like, we are living through its unraveling. We prepare with love, not fear. Community is a practice. It must be tended, not controlled. Contribution is currency. Bring something, a snack, a song, a book, a question. Children are part of the vibe, which I have conflict about, and this is why it's saying this.
How could they not be?
Well, and it says, the most impeccable vibe may include little feet, big feelings, and the mess of life.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of like trying to inquire about like why I keep like an arm's distance in my own life.
Because you don't want to raise kids.
Yeah.
That's all. And when you get around them, they're like any other thing that we see could use some help. And, we get into that. Yeah, we get into that frame of mind.
I love them.
Yeah, of course.
But I look at myself and I'm like, but why do I personally have resistance anyway?
Mm.
Technology is not neutral. We protect our time, attention, and nervous systems. We are artists, mystics, gardeners, radicals, lovers. We are not content creators. We are culture creators. The offerings. Gather and grow. Sundays in the park. A public altar.
You came up with that, too. Yeah.
A public altar of shared energy. Bring offerings. Books, games, snacks, skills, knowledge. Make art, play music, dance, breathe, chill. Questions we hold. How do we stay rooted when the world is spinning fast? What is the mission when no one is clearly in charge? Can we lead without dominating? Can we trust without abandoning ourselves? Can we prepare for a life beyond capitalism? What do we want our kids' lives to look like? What are we building that will last? Yeah, I have a lot of this fear of, I don't know if it's fear, but this question of like wanting to being in charge, but not being clinging to being in charge, or like being open to collaborating without the fear of giving up something,
You hold that space for both of us. Like, I'm like, guys, chill out, lighten up. Because I'm so loose. But the second we get too loose, I'm like, oh, fuck, what the fuck,
Okay, so our practices. Listening to the body before making decisions. Slowing down when things get fast. Tapping into intuition and checking it with community. Leaving space for the unknown. Holding paradox. That's what my scroll was. It was a lot of paradox. Breathing and being instead of fixing and forcing. Asking questions instead of rushing for answers.
That feels like a message straight from our movie Sweet Nothing that we screened.
Well, that's because we did such a wonderful screening of these films. Let me just read this last part.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about that. The Church of Chill is a place within where you accept, where you breathe, where you remember what matters, where you no longer need to buy so much to feel whole, where the line between being and doing dissolves into presence. It's wild, it's magic, it's us. And that kind of blew me away that it said it's wild.
It's wild, it's magic, it's and you never said those words to it.
I don't think so, no.
That's crazy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I think it's like it's approaching life with lightness, but holding our values near and dear.
Yeah, it's kind of helpful for it to reflect the values that I wrote and then kind of put them in structure and organize them. Because I have all these ideals of things that I want to remember, and then it puts it, and that's in a deeper container.
It's just, for me, it's just like I don't even have to think about the values too much. Like, if they're there, it's just going, they're the things that are making my life feel a certain way. And that's, that's all I care about is like, how does this moment feel? How does our life feel contained in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that comes from like just kind of holding these values in your heart. There's not a lot you have to do. It's just going to happen. We're like a tree making leaves. It's just going to happen. It's like you don't have to get all crazy about it. But it feels like talking about our values and like putting them in there feels like vows that people take to each other.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, let's remind each other what's sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many things that hit so close to home. And there's a way longer version of these sacred scrolls. And there's so many things in there that eerily hit so close to home. And I think would for anybody. But, I think life could be like really, really intense and scary. And but there's a frame of mind you can go through it in that like kind of makes it feel like more of like a mission of discovery. And and this too. And if you want to get crazy, you can dance through it. You could put the disco in discovery if you want to, and like just I feel like just like having those little reminders from weird little Irish devils like me can spice up someone's life. And if you spice it up a little bit, over time that accumulates. The next thing you know, like you have like a rad thing going. And that was like a lot of what I was reflecting on that day. I'm like, look at all these freaks that came out because we were like, hey, Church of Chill is open, motherfuckers. And like the homies, past, present, and future.
I like disco of discovery.
Putting the disco in discovery. Yeah, I could probably come up with something like that on the daily. If I was a journaler or whatever, yeah. I'd probably have my own sacred scrolls like filled with stuff like that. But I really don't write anything down. Well,
you're good at writing, so I don't know why you don't ever.
Yeah, it just feels like I'm not like let's just start writing for no reason type of person.
Well, I think it's a good practice.
Yeah.
That we can incorporate because I think it's.
This is my modern version of that.
It is nice to say vows.
Yeah.
Like it helps you see the alignment of like, okay, what are my values? What are my vows? Because then. Yeah. It is easy to get lost. In what's important.
There were people at this event that were lost. And you know how I knew they were lost? Because they came there as a consumer, not a contributor. Mm-hmm. And just setting that space and then seeing someone come in there as a consumer, the type of person who's motherfucking writing a goddamn Yelp review as they experience things. They're just a step removed, And there wasn't many there, but they were there and you could feel it. And I think it's incredibly lame vibe to bring around, but one that I wasn't even aware of that nuance until I felt it in what I consider sacred space. You might have walked in there and not thought this is sacred space, but it's like, hey, look at the age range and diversity of people in here, all tripping their fucking balls off sitting together. They didn't know each other before they walked in here. This is sacred space. So you can come in here with your fucking attitude of like, oh, I wish it was like a little more like this, and I didn't want to talk to blah blah blah. Leave. Like it really like not to be like overly like masculine or exclusionary, but like it's like the vibe kind of sets a standard that like if you're not going to arrive at that, like get out of here. Just get out of here. You know how you're being. Like if you're coming in here like fucking Karen energy, like go.
I mean, everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
Everyone had a great time.
Everyone had a great time. And it really, really just, all I'm trying to say by saying that is it was clarifying, like in the moment, we left there and I was like, this is one of the best days of my life. This is a top tier kind of crazy, like, we got to host a party on Bicycle Day in the heart of New York City.
And so help support a place that we want to stay open.
Of course.
Well,
Yeah, of course. And I hope more people support it. Like, it's so bold what they're doing. They have a place called Psychedelic Assembly on 46th Street between 2nd and 3rd. They're a block from the United Nations. They're 2 blocks from Grand Central. Like they're in the heart of Midtown. And that is a place where when you go, it brings out the Midtown spirit in you, the businessman, the rational thinker.
Mm-hmm.
To have a place that in its name says psychedelic right in the middle of that is so bold and revolutionary in itself that is worth acknowledging. And then for us to be able to kind of fill that space with what we think the vibe is, and it's not all about drugs at all. It's about that vibration.
Well, I love that.
Show up as community, show up as a contributor. Bring anything, even if it's a smile on your face. When you don't bring anything, you just show up as a consumer. Ooh.
Well,
It's hard for me not to become like a jolly old Saint Nick and have a list of like motherfuckers that it's like, don't bother with them. I'm sorry to be like that. That's my very human side of just like, don't bother with the people that aren't grateful for this, because it takes a lot out of me to do it. It was a lot of effort.
Oh yeah, and I totally, like, I'm saying we put all the money into the speaker, but I'm like, I put all the money into the snacks and food and everything else. You know, it's like whatever.
Well, they're like, we'll order pizza, and I'm like, that's all fine and dandy. We don't eat pizza. And I don't necessarily like want that to be the only offering. So, you and Kellyanne step up and make something that is like more than feeds a whole crowd. Good, plant-based, nutritious, organic food.
Well, it's really cool to see two of our movies on the big screen, Family Trip and Sweet Nothing. And I like, when I was there, Michelangelo did the after talk with us, and he's like, is there anything you want me to bring up or that you want to talk about? I'm like, honestly, I don't even care about watching these movies. Like, let's just hang out. I've seen these movies.
I just want to kiss you right now. I don't care if the team is struggling.
I've seen these movies, and I just was like totally jaded about our own films that I love dearly. But I was just
we knew going into it that there would come a time where we were going to have to, like, a record scratch moment, be like, okay, party's over, film screenings start now. Like, we didn't necessarily like set the day up like that ourselves. It was kind of suggested, and we were like, okay, we'll roll with it. But you and I both had a sneaking suspicion that 6:37 p.m. was going to come around, and we were going to be like, call it off. We don't fucking just keep the party
But the thing is,
going.
there were a good amount of people who were there because they wanted to see the movies.
I realized that throughout the day. So, yeah, like you were saying.
And so, yeah, of course, we screen these movies, and I'm just totally swept up. I mean, what a gift to be able to see these films on the big screen. I mean, to be on acid and watch Sweet Nothing and, like,
with people
and see what a living monument it is to that experience. And it feels very real, of like, whoa, I really felt it. It got me higher, which I love.
Yeah.
And then Family Trip comes on, and it's such a tearjerker. I'm losing it. I'm just totally a mess, a ball of a mess of a person. And I've seen this movie countless times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to show those films in that context, and not, because it's cool that we just put our movies on the internet and stuff.
But we never do stuff like that.
But the captive audience on a bigger screen, who's like all interested in, Sweet Nothing's about a woman taking acid, Family Trip, a mother-daughter taking MDMA, like a captive audience that knows these substances, is curious about them, cares about them. And to watch it in that environment, I was like, damn, this is really special. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
And very grateful for the people who run this place and the volunteers who keep it going, and our boy Larry.
Yeah. Shout out to DJ Preschool, Larry, showing up as a volunteer, holding it down. Shout out to Robin, just
Susie, who founded this place with a cat and stuff like that. Like, they're
shout out to Alexa,
like amazing people who really are giving themselves to this space and this mission, and it's a really cool, beautiful thing to see. And an event goes well when everyone at the end is like, how do I volunteer here?
Yeah. Guests at the event were like, how do I help keep this going? And it's just like, fuck yeah, that's what's up. And it has nothing to do with us. It's just like, yeah, contact them, figure out. You should volunteer here. You meet a lot of cool people hanging around this place.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, and like, how cool of them, because like I feel like, the way we've never really been accepted and invited into like the film industry in any kind of way, we've just had to like scrap it out ourselves, and it's made us better people. I feel the same way about like this kind of whole world of like
Yeah, we're the outsiders.
Mainstream psychedelia. Yeah, it feels like we're very much the outsiders, just in the sense of just like we're tab meets the tongue people. We actually take these drugs. We've read all the books about the science and the studies and the legalization and all that stuff. But like the culture around psychedelics is quickly becoming only that. It's only becoming like appropriate to talk about these things and this and that. And it's just like psychedelics represent, it might as well translate to me to possibilities. And all I want to infuse into the space now that we're kind of being welcomed into it by Psychedelic Assembly and psychedelic science is just access to those spaces to just remind people of the infinite possibilities and remind people like what it looks like put into practice. Motherfuckers who worship and take this sacrament and use it to amplify beauty in our world and make art around the amplification of that beauty. I think it's something I think the space was lacking a little bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be going near it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel at this stage in our life, in our careers, and our psychedelic exploration that we do have something to bring to the table. And it might just be as simple as that. It's just like we're good at creating a container where people can discover themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, you obviously you and ChatGPT came up with a lot more simple bullet pointed words around that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's what all this is pointing out to me. So I mean, we were saying to Kellyanne and Michael before we even went into it, we're like, we're not really sure why we're doing it. We don't even know. We're just kind of like surfing a wave that came our way. We just happen to be out there.
Well, we say yes to things. We're yes people.
But then you
most
realize
of the times.
why we're those people after in the wake of something like this.
Well, because, going to the event, I was feeling like super hopeless. Like, what am I supposed to even be doing here? And it just kind of, the power of seeing people come together and share ideas and sharing a vibration, but also like a honoring. And it was like, oh, okay, this is what we're supposed to do this. People are supposed to be coming together. Ideas are supposed to be being spread around. Different ways of looking at the world is you need to facilitate ways for that to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I think also like part of, at least for me and for us, like being such sensitive people is like, well, we're really good at holding space for other people because like I don't have to think about in a people-pleasy way, like what would everyone like if they came here? I'm like, what would I need in order to stay here or even arrive at this, let alone pay to get into something like this? What would I need?
Mm-hmm.
And just do those things. And it's so awesome to watch other people respond to that. To look over and watch a 70-year-old guy fixated on this bizarre 6-hour music video I made. That's pretty cool. Like that's pretty cool. I'm like, hey, I really wasn't thinking about anyone else when I made this, but myself in terms of what would I need. And it's just nice to see it works on other people. It makes me feel that's how I can connect through shared humanity in those spaces. And it also just gives you tons of things to talk about. You know, like, oh, like, remember when that song came out? Did you get that album? You know, like, I'm such a nerd for all those portals being available, and that's what that space is so charged with. Like, there's decks everywhere. You just pull a card, and like, you pull a card, and you're pulling a portal open. Especially if you're going to engage with somebody on that thing. So, yeah, there's a lot we learned, and that we're going to take forward and do in other spaces. And we're going to be out at Psychedelic Science, screening Wild Magic. What an honor that we got invited to do that. And along with that, I think we're going to be hosting a party at Meow Wolf with the Psychedelic Assembly people. So that'll be fun. So look where it leads immediately to another like cool little impasse that we get to decide what to do. And I think we should just go pedal to the metal and keep growing this community. And yeah, it feels like as good a calling as any.
Well, we're gonna heed the call.
Yeah. I think that's what that's what being a sensitive person's all about. is like you pick up on vibrations and you do something about it. So, and the podcast is just a way of like casting and capturing our spells, and they get amplified, and like other people hear them, and whether or not they choose to believe in our delusions as artists, it's on them. But I feel like it gets rippled out, and it's a powerful thing to do. And again, I'll just take it full circle that like this was never about us. It was about creating spaces beyond the bar. Like when we felt lost in those first few years of not drinking and getting into psychedelics and just smoking pot more and becoming more introspective, what we lost, at least at first, was the community that came along with being at the bar. Like, how do you recreate that where it can be anywhere? And it doesn't have to be reliant on alcohol or really any substances, but like you're there to connect. It feels important because it feels like something our past selves needed and prayed for so much. We've literally prayed. Before we even prayed, we prayed. Remember that? We're like, we need friends. And instead of friends arriving, ideas about how to build lasting friendships arrived. So you gotta be you kind of gotta be astute about how to decode the way your prayers are being answered. But when you look back, it's usually pretty clear.
Totally. Well put.
Yeah. Cool. You want to do another one?
Sure.
We'll be doing part 2 on patreon.com/churchofchill. Join up while it's still $2. We have a weekly film club where we watch a film every week and get together in Zoom and talk about it. And that's my favorite part of the week every week. And I put out these Church of Chill music mixes that are really good. That's it. They're really good.
They are really good.
I don't know. I make them. So it's something I have to do. And I do it. And we have a Discord community where everybody's like just talking and inspiring each other and keeping the positive vibration going. It's like our digital bonfire that we'll throw logs onto, but everybody's throwing logs on it now. So that's a cool thing, just to have access to that.
We'll talk about contribution. You know, people contribute so much with ideas, with vibes, with holding it down, with sharing information, with sharing good vibes, so sharing where they're at, sharing a picture of a sunset, you know? Like, it's the little things that allow us to feel more connected. Oh, this flower popped up. Oh, look at this funny meme.
Look at my dog.
Look at my dog, you know?
Check out this song.
That is the foundation of like lasting friendships, is kind of knowing where people are at and what they're thinking about, and it can be very sweet and very wholesome, and that's what we're all about, holding that space.
Yeah, so that's all available on patreon.com/churchofchill. Get down with it, and we'll see you for part 2 of this episode.
Oh, wait, and if you like our shirts,
because
people have told us these are their favorite, most comfortable shirts, and we have sadly been out of stock in most of them, most sizes that people like, for a while. So we got some colorful
Church
versions.
of Chill long sleeves available now, and the long sleeve ones say "Through the Static and Distance," which is a Jason Molina quote from the Songs Ohio song "Farewell Transmission." I think it really encapsulates what we're trying to say about Church of Chill, through the static and distance. And then these t-shirts that we just got, sick color. Cass picked these colors, and you picked really sick colors, so we have these available. And the t-shirts say, "Laugh till you cry, live till you die." It's an amazing song by the band Can.
Right on.
Yeah, so part 2 of all these episodes is on patreon.com/churchofchill. Just reminding you to join us over there. It's a lot more fun. Cool. See you over there.
Bye.
Peace, love, and magic.